Okay, so welcome back to our continuing series on lessons in magic here on YouTube. Um, Today we're going to be taking a look at what may end up being one of the most important subjects that we cover here on the channel eventually, which is what is an archetype? And this is just an introductory lesson into what is an archetype. And so if you were here for our first lesson in magic, which was the problem with playing cards, I went over the archetypal representation of all playing cards, which is the Lady Victory or our divine feminine, right? The thing that we all aspire to, the thing that we all desire. So, this is a representation of the divine feminine, which won't make sense to anybody. But let's just say that it's a representation of all of the things in this deck as well, right? We can understand what that means, right? Because when we open up the deck, right? And I'm going to get rid of these two cards permanently. I don't need them anymore. There they go. Okay. So we got these two jokers. We already covered them. They're archetypes, right? We've already covered random chance and luck, right? And either one of these, they're both supposed to be different, right? That's why one's colored in and one's not, right? It's like they are actually supposed to theoretically function as two separate cards, right? It's two different things. You're supposed to be able to tell the difference between them so you know which one's which. It's just a thing, right? But functionally, it's like either one of these is on its own an archetype, right? Random chance is its own archetype all by itself, and luck is its own archetype all by itself. You could consider these to be things that you could flip a coin, right? Random chance and luck, right? You'd have two coins, each of those things. But that's the whole thing about life with random chance and luck. Flip a coin, what are your chances? How much luck do you think you have? That's what you're doing with these two guys. Okay. So that's like their archetypal character, right? The one that we understand them as, right? And then you have four other archetypes in a deck of cards that we all understand, right? This is the first one, and it's always the most important one, the spades, right? With our lady, right? And so this is an archetype, right? All the spades cards, right? And she governs all the spades cards, right? And then we have these other ones that everybody understands, right? Diamonds, right? That's another archetype, right? We got clubs. That's another archetype. Although, where's my ace? Did I put the ace over here? Is that what I did? Am I missing an ace? Is that really what happened? Oh no. Okay, they reversed it on me. Okay. Geez, guys are giving me a heart attack here. Clubs. Okay. All right. Just just tidying things up slightly so it's not all over the place. That's all we're doing. Okay. Make sure I've got my other ace up my sleeve. No, not up my sleeve. I gotta roll up my sleeves. That's what I gotta do here. Roll up my sleeves. All right. So those are our archetypes, right? We all understand the four main archetypes of a deck of cards, playing cards, right? But even within these, there are more archetypes because, well, you got aces, right? Aces are an archetype, right? They reversed these guys on me. So let me just do this real quick. There we go. Nice and neat and in order, right? I'm telling you, I'm not a fancy card guy, okay? I don't do fancy card tricks. I'm not one of those, okay? So even within those, okay, each of the cards, each of the cards all the way down, right, is a set of four, and those are an archetype. So you got all the kings, all the queens, all the jacks, but also tens, nines, eights, sevens, six, fives, four, threes, and twos, right? Those are all archetypes. You could look at each of the decks and you could say, okay, you know, What story do I want to tell with just the spades cards and tell a story with just that set, right? And those are your archetypes that you're working with, right? Or you could be like, I'm going to tell a mixed story and I'm going to use all the kings and queens and they're all going to be having a party and having fun and you know, entertaining each other. And so it depends on how many cards you're using in the set, right? And so that's like an important function of the limitations of what you can do with a set of archetypes within a deck of playing cards, right? Because you've only got so many to deal with, right? And that kind of gives you an idea of like, okay, so we've got this many. This is the set that we're dealing with a set of playing cards, right? And that's what like an archetype is, right? We can understand we're breaking it down into like the sets of all sets, right? And then we have the one representation that's like all of these things together, right? That's what she represents, right? And so she's like the archetype of archetypes, right? And so you could, you know, archangel, archetype, whatever, however you want to phrase it, right? She's the one at the top, right? And if you think about her in sort of the terms of there's other archetypes that fit her, right? That we use in story making. And so some of those would be like Wonder Woman, right? If you think about she's got a sword in one hand, and the other hand she's offering peace, right? Wonder Woman, she's got a sword in one hand, and the other hand she's got a shield, right? And it's like the whole thing about what I was talking about in the first episode with the playing cards and asking the questions, right? It's like if you're going to ask Wonder Woman a question, which hand would you want to reach towards to ask the question of, right? You reach towards her shield, right? And she'll cut off your hands with her sword, right? Because she thinks that you're reaching for the thing that she needs to protect herself, right? If you reach for her sword, she's going to block you with the shield, right? Because she's going to be like, no, no, buddy, you can't be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I need that to protect myself. So how do you get to Wonder Woman, right? This is the same lesson that I talked about in the first episode, right? How do you get to Wonder Woman? You just ask her because she's a lady. You ask her if you're allowed, you know what I mean? If the universe is aligned, you know what I mean? So that you can ask her a question instead of trying to reach for her sword or her shield. And that's kind of it's a hidden symbolic archetypal lesson, right? Also within Wonder Woman's character, right? Anywhere you see that type of a character, that's the kind of thing that the story is trying to hint or intonate to you, that it's like that's the role, that's the thing that's being played, that's the part of the story, right? That's being told with that character is the thing that you want you want to save, you want to protect, you want to help, you want to heal, you want to do all the good things. But how do you do that? You gotta let her decide. You gotta let her decide. That's the important lesson, right? And so hidden symbolism is all around us, right? But that's just like the archetypal lesson that you can get from one symbol on a deck of playing cards. Okay? Which leads me to this, which is the other kind of deck of playing cards that I want to be able to talk about on the channel. And this is a deck of tarot cards. This particular deck, the Centennial Edition, they're basically colored so that it looks like that the deck is artificially aged 100 years. So that the colors are actually faded. They're not what the original colors would be. But this is the deck that I want to start looking at on the channel here, one by one, going through each of the symbols, each of the archetypal symbols that are in a deck of tarot cards, because these are the ones that we actually use to tell each other stories. Because in the same way that we've got Wonder Woman there, you've got all the characters in here. This is the first one that we'll cover, and I'm not going to go into the whole discussion of them right now, right? But if this is the archetype for a deck of playing cards, and that's the information that you can glean just from looking at her, what I want to explore on the channel is the symbolism and what it is that we can glean when we look at the symbols that we find in the deck of tarot cards. And so that's going to be the next part of our series on the channel, where I'm going to continue to go through and I'm going to look at now the archetypal symbolism of each of the important tarot cards. And I'm going to talk about what I think is there, what I think is missing, what I think should be there or isn't. And also, I'm just going to go through and explore the symbolism one by one. I this is going to be a surprise to some people. I've never actually gone through an entire deck of tarot cards and looked at all the symbols and then like done the whole thing. I have some familiarity with the cards, but I'm interested in them and I wanted to go through and learn more about them. And because I know a lot about symbolism, we're just going to have some fun. I'm going to go through, I'm going to read each of the cards blind. I'm just going to look at it. I'm going to tell you what I think the symbolism is trying to tell me. And then we're going to look, and I've got the book. Oh, let's see here. I've got the book right next to me. We've got the pictorial key to the tarot, right? So we're going to be looking in there for what the meaning is to each of those cards. And then I also have another deck. So this is the Rider-Waite Tarot Pack. This is the same deck as this deck, right? But where this one is artificially aged to look older, this one is supposed to be all as it was originally colored. And so someday we're going to open this up because it's still sealed. And someday we're going to open this up and we're just going to take a look at the difference between the cards, how they look now and how they were supposed to look when we started. So just more fun stuff for the channel, guys. The more sneak previews of things to come. But yeah, that's our first lesson on what is an archetype. We're going to continue to go down this road and follow the fool and see where he leads us. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please like, subscribe, comment, share, ask a question. Always here to have some fun and talk about some interesting things. So hope you guys join us for more here on the channel, and we'll see you again next time.